Hey guys, it's Aaron from Mobile Reviews A.C, and today I'm going to do a review of the ProShot case. This is one of the most waterproof cases that I've ever used. I've had a lot of fun using it in the last few months, and I will tell you this, the next time I go on vacation where I go snorkeling, I'm putting my iPhone in this case over the HitCase Pro, over the XD6. It's that awesome for waterproof stuff. Now for my ProShot review, I've given this case a score 3.9 A's out of 5. It edges out the Optrix XD6 as well as the HitCase Pro, but the higher score doesn't necessarily mean it's the best case between the three, because that will depend on what you're going to do, what you're going to be using the case for. I'll elaborate on that in a bit. This is one of the biggest cases I've used, but the iPhone inside the case actually isn't terribly usable. So when you're done being awesome, well, you're kind of stuck. This is the only case that is waterproof up to 100 feet, and no, I didn't take it down to 100 feet because, well, I can barely swim. If you need more information, check out my website. I've got a comparison table set up between the HitCase Pro XD6 and ProShot if you need. Links are in the I or the description section below. Real usage, real reviews, Mobile Reviews A.ca. At Mobile Reviews A.ca, we base everything we do on actual usage. So with a waterproof case, well, we'll take it into the water. It's kind of all we can do with it. If they say you can mount it to GoPro accessories, well, we'll go and do that as well. I did take the ProShot on a mini vacation to a lake and, did some stuff there, but you can't really see anything at the bottom of the really gritty lake. Before we get to the meat of the review, Monty is wearing a baseball jersey. It is, according to my wife, adorable. According to me, it's funny. I'm going to step through the usual details, the design, the protection, as well as the functionality of the iPhone in the case. And then at the very end, I will do a quick comparison between the HitCase, the Optrix XD6, against this ProShot. In terms of the design, the ProShot has a back and two swappable fronts, which is a little different. One of the most unique features of this case is the ability to swap out faceplates depending on what you're doing. You have a touchable faceplate for instances where you might get the iPhone wet but still want to use your iPhone. The other is a rigid piece of polycarbonate that essentially entombs your iPhone in a clear coffin. The only way to access your device is through the volume button. With the rigid faceplate, you're able to take your iPhone to depths of 100 feet, which is, again, awesome. From my perspective, go with the touchable faceplate if you're planning to spend a day at the beach with the occasional dip in the water. If you're going to do anything where you'll be swimming or being submerged for extended periods of time, go with the faceplate because it will prevent you from what I call ibiotouyi or idiotic bobbing in order to use your iPhone in water. Installing the iPhone in the case is fairly straightforward once you do it once. The iPhone sits on a piece of rubber inside the case, so that piece of rubber does move around a bit, so on-the-go installation might be a notch more difficult when you compare it to like the Optrix XD6. The iPhone feels incredibly solid in the ProShot. The aluminum latches have a nice click to them, and the transparency of the case helps you determine the physical status of your iPhone. If you're wondering about the compatibility with screen protectors, well, for my lake footage, I had a Rhino Shield Impact Shield installed on the iPhone, which is one of the thicker screen protectors, and everything worked fine. As a tip, if you do get this case, you'll notice that the touchable screen protector has a significant curve to it. Prior to snapping the case completely shut, I'd recommend pushing the air out of the case so that the sensitivity loss isn't as great. The ProShot can be mounted to other 1/4-inch mounting accessories, which means anything you've gotten for your GoPro is most likely going to be able to work with the ProShot, which is nice, though it's not as easy to use with GoPro accessories when compared to the HitCase Pro because, well, the rail slide on the HitCase Pro is awesome. When it comes to protection, the ProShot is a tank. This is the only case that we've come across that's waterproof up to 100 feet, which means you can do scuba diving with the case if you do that sort of stuff. The Optrix XD6 and HitCase Pro are not meant for use with scuba divers. Now, during my mini lake vacation, the deepest I took the case was maybe 10, 11, 12, 13 feet, and that only happened when the strap on the pole that they sent me broke and it sank to the bottom of the lake. Luckily, I was able to swim down and get it. ProShot did send us a chest harness as well, which works better than your standard GoPro harness, but it isn't as slick as the HitCase Chester. Also, certain parts of the chest strap was a little itchy. The case isn't officially drop rated, though ProShot claims to have dropped it from 20 feet. But we've reviewed enough cases and dropped enough iPhones to know that anything sitting in a 1/4-inch polycarbonate shell is probably going to be fun if you drop it from 2 meters or 6.6 feet. Now, as we mentioned earlier, getting to your iPhone isn't easy. In fact, it's almost impossible because you can't get to your mute switch, you can't get to your power switch, you can't plug in headphones, and you can't plug in a lightning cable. I did say earlier that the ProShot is like a tomb for your iPhone, and I was not kidding. Even with the touchscreen faceplate, you're going to have a difficult time accessing the touchscreen. If you don't use the tip I talked about earlier, the touchscreen is almost altogether unusable. But none of this really matters because ProShot is going to ensure that you capture the footage you need when you're in and out of the water, if you use their free app. I'll elaborate in about 13 seconds. The last thing I will talk about in terms of the iPhone's functionality is the set of removable lenses on the ProShot. You can get 3 different lenses that screw into the case. The wide-angle lens has a fisheye effect to them, which is very evident when you compare it to the Zitylus Prime lenses. I quickly went and looked at the other lenses by the other 2 manufacturers, and it's about the same. The image quality is a little better through these lenses, but they're all kind of the fish eye, the edges are kind of blurry, but when you're shooting a ton of video underwater, that generally won't matter much. I say design mentality of ProShot with just allowing you to use the 2 buttons is actually very smart, because the last time I went on a vacation, well, an ocean-based vacation, was late last year, and I lost about an hour and a half of footage. I lost a ton of footage with the turtles, and I lost a bunch of footage with the manta rays. And that's because, you know, I'm in the water, and the touchscreen of the iPhone doesn't work underwater. And even if it's above water, you've got water droplets on it that kind of like nullifies the entire touchscreen, so you gotta shake it all off, and you have to do this while you're in the middle of the ocean, which is kind of why I say you're kind of doing the bobby, ibiot, you, the idiot bobbing thing that I mentioned earlier in the review. So with ProShot's app, you can shuffle through the video or photo modes through the lower volume button, and you can stop your recording or take pictures with the top volume button. And this is really smart because it completely negates it doesn't require you to use the touchscreen, which again, as I said, is just a pain in the ass when you're in the middle of the ocean. For the last part of this video, the comparison between the HitCase, the ProShot, and the Optrix XD6. The HitCase Pro is a great, we'll say, above water action case. The rail slide mount allows you to attach it to GoPro accessories very quickly. Again, the case is drop rated to 6 feet. It's waterproof to 33 feet. Their external accessories are very, very nice. The HitCase Chester, I'm a big fan of. So if you're planning on maybe getting a bit wet with your iPhone while doing a lot of awesome things above water, the HitCase Pro is a very good case to get. Now, onto the Optrix XD6. That is, I would say, if you spend 50% of the time at the beach and 50% of your time in the water, then that's a decent case to get, but you still run into the issue of, you know, the touchscreen, the capacitive touchscreen not working underwater or having to bob up and down all the time. The upside about that case is that, you know, after you're done being awesome, you can easily take your iPhone out of that case and still have a bit of protection for it. Whereas in this thing, with the ProShot, it's kind of unusable in the case. Like, you could not go play Pokemon Go with this case easily. You could, it'd be really frustrating. The Optrix XD6 and HitCase Pro, I wouldn't say fail miserably because they're still better waterproof cases than anything from LifeProof, do not perform as strongly as the ProShot when it just comes to just pure swimming in the ocean, snorkeling. Anytime that you're spending 10-15 minutes away from land, there's no way for you to go back, or you have to go through that bobbing thing to clear off the water off your touchscreen. The ProShot is the case to go. I love snorkeling, even though I can barely swim. I love just looking down at the bottom of the ocean. That is why I say that that this is the best waterproof iPhone case to date. And, you know, that's the first time I've said it in this video, but I'm saying it. So that's kind of all I got. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comment section below. I do have to give a shout out to ProShot, as they did send me this case to review, but not the hours they didn't compensate me for the hours of using the case. So if you have questions, find me on Google+, Twitter, as well as Facebook. I'm Aaron the Ho. This is Monty the O. Wearing a baseball jersey. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. Thanks for watching. You want to go? All right, go.
Thank you.